Beyond the Game, brought to you by Turkish Airlines.
On this Beyond the Game, we give you a behind-the-scenes look at Turkey's Euro 2024 bid. Steven Gerrard tells us about that night in Istanbul, the unforgettable time Turkey became European champions, and a footballing legend gives Robin Adams a tour of the Bosphorus he'll never forget. Welcome to Istanbul and welcome to the Ataturk Stadium. On this special edition of Beyond the Game, we're going to let you in on a little secret. Turkey wants to host the 2024 European Football Championships, a project which will pit them against the footballing powerhouse of Germany to see who will host Europe's best footballers in 6 years' time. For the next half an hour, we will take a closer look at what Turkey has to offer the bosses at Uefa and try and use our crystal ball to see if Turkey has what it takes to host the Euros.
Still 6 years away, but already moves are being made to host the European Championships of 2024. The question is, will it be Turkey or Germany? The two great football nations have set out their path to what they hope will be the best version of European football's greatest prize. Germany are offering up 10 cities to host this time around. 4 of those are in the footballing powerhouse region of the Rhine Valley, including the Westfalen Stadium in Dortmund. Down south, fans will remember the Allianz Arena in Munich, which made its grand debut at the 2006 World Cup, while the final will be played at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. Germany does have a history of hosting football's great events. 4-time winners on the pitch, West Germany hosted and won the World Cup in 1974, the 1988 Euros, which shone brightly off the back of Marco van Basten, and the 2006 World Cup final, the first in a unified Germany, remembered as much for Italy's win as for Zinedine Zidane headbutting Marco Materazzi. The other bid, Turkey, will mean there are some allegiances which are strained by UEFA's decision. Millions of Turkish people also call Germany home.
I love both countries. Of course, I'm connected to both countries in a very special way. The one is the country where I was born and where I grew up. And the one is the country of my family, where my family comes from and where my roots are. So I think it's just a win-win situation for me.
Turkey have never hosted a major tournament before. They were unsuccessful to host the Euros in the past, but it's a nation with deep ties to the European game. Turkey's bid for the showpiece event includes 9 cities and hopes to open up the ancient culture of the nation's southeast. The final, however, will be played in a familiar setting, the Istanbul Ataturk Stadium. The Turkish bid is not just a showcase for football, but a chance for the continent to look at the destination with new eyes. The bids will be evaluated by UEFA and scrutinised over for months to see who will have the right to host the European Football Championships of 2024.
Now, this pitch is home to one of the greatest moments in European football, Liverpool's 2005 Champions League victory against AC Milan. Now, for a stadium just 3 years old, it hosted a match loved by football romantics the world over. Here is how it all unfolded from a man who orchestrated one of the greatest ever comebacks, Steven Gerrard.
The city was amazing. Certainly in the build-up, I think the AC Milan fans and Liverpool fans, two fantastic supported teams, I think they made a really carnival atmosphere. And it was a special occasion. The stadium looked amazing on the drive-in, all lit up in the dark. The pitch was perfect and both sets of fans played the part on the night.
Quite a breezy night in Istanbul. The wind blows down over an open stand to your left to right. Liverpool are playing into it in the first half.
Then you find yourself 3-0 down because they absolutely dominated us in the first period.
Right-footed, edge of the box, shot comes in. Oh, it's a goal for Milan. It's taken 50 seconds, for Milan to score. Shevchenko al centro, il tiro, rete, rete, il raddoppio di Alba per Crespo, il tiro, rete, rete, rete, il terzo gol del Milan.
So yeah, there was a lot of soul searching at half time. We all had to look at ourselves first and foremost, and then we had to go out and sort the mess out. But I think the key was having the fans on side. The fans stuck with us.
3-0 down. The Liverpool fans are just seeing if sheer fan power alone can lift the team.
I think the couple of changes that Raf had made played a big part as well. But I think everyone found an extra 10, 15, 20% even in their own game, and everyone brought that to the party, and thankfully we got back into the game.
In towards Gerrard! Hello! Here we go! Steven Gerrard puts a grain of doubt in the back of Milan's minds.
We all had to dig, not just myself. Certainly going into the latter stages of the 90 minutes and the extra time. I think a game of that magnitude, you use a lot of energy in the build-up because it's such a game of high magnitude. So when the game actually comes around, you actually feel drained before it starts, and then you have to go and compete against one of the best teams in Europe.
A man to Smicer, oh! He's got a superb second for Liverpool, and all of a sudden, the Reds are back in the European Cup final. It's quite outstanding. It's the most unbelievable scenes in the Atatürk Stadium in Istanbul.
The Liverpool fans were, for us, were the 12th man, because I think 99% of teams would have give up on the team 3-0 down at half time and really put pressure and unnecessary bad energy towards the team. But the Liverpool fans stuck with us all the way through, and they certainly played their part in getting us over the line.
40,000 Liverpool fans inside here hold their breath. Hundreds of thousands hold their breath on Merseyside. It's Xabi Alonso for 3-3, it's saved, and Alonso follows it in! It's wonderful! It's marvellous! It's 3-3 in the European Cup final!
But the difference with our fans and most others is they wake up every single morning and Liverpool's the priority. They live for the club and they live for the badge, and I totally understand that feeling because I was a fan before I became a player. And now that I'm not a player, I still have that feeling where I love the club and I want them to do well. Even when I was over in LA, I was still a huge Liverpool fan. And that's just how the club grabs you.
Shevchenko, for the European Footballer of the Year, the star man in the Milan side, must score. He must score. He saved it! Didn't save for Liverpool! And Liverpool have won the Champions League! This is amazing!
Can you believe it? At 1:45 this Thursday morning in Istanbul, Liverpool are champions of Europe.
Istanbul is always going to have a special place in my heart for the rest of my life. It was the biggest night of my career, one of the biggest nights of the club's history, and probably still to this day the best Champions League final has ever been. And every time you think of 2005, the first place that comes into your mind is Istanbul.
The Turkish bid for Euro 2024 is not just based around the passionate fans. Turkish football runs deep and wide across this country, and it allows fans to get to know not just a footballing community, but a country which is diverse, historical and obsessed with food.
When the world of football sees Turkey, they focus on just one city, Istanbul. However, the 2024 European Football Championships bid attempts to be wide-reaching, diverse, and include the thousands of players and clubs across the country. Because it's not just one city which is football crazy, it's an entire nation. In the southeast, the ancient eastern city of Gaziantep is waiting to welcome European fans not just to the home of a new stadium, but the home of some of Turkey's greatest exports. Gaziantep knows how to eat. It's what brings tourists here and makes locals always come home. From their world-famous kebabs to baklava. 90% of the baklava consumed in Turkey comes from this one place. History is a relative term in Turkey because among the Roman ruins of Antalya, it reveals a city which has evolved from a fishing port on the edge of the world to a city of over 2 million people. Now, Antalya to Konya is a route not often travelled by many tourists, but to step back to Konya on your way to Istanbul is to step into a different time. Life here moves to a slower tempo, following the mesmeric twirl of the whirling dervish. Modern Konya is now the home to Samuel Eto'o. The three-time Champions League winner now plays in the ancient city as he looks to extend his career. But Turkish football isn't just a place for careers to come to their end. It's also a place for some to become hometown heroes. Enes Ünal is just 20 and plays in Spain now. But even though he left Bursa as a teenager, he is still beloved back home.
It's beautiful city for me. It's my hometown. I love there. It's calm city, we are really beautiful.
Bursa has a strong football culture. In fact, they are the only club outside of Istanbul to win the league since the 1980s. Everything since belongs to Istanbul. The city itself is split along the obvious geographic lines, but also in who you support. On the European side, you have Galatasaray, Beşiktaş, Kasımpaşa, and newcomers Başakşehir. In Asia, the eastern side of the Bosphorus belongs to Fenerbahce. But with Beşiktaş's recent rise to the top of the league, Istanbul football is stronger than ever before. And when Istanbul football is strong, Turkish football is too.
Share together, the catchphrase of this bid. Including everybody is an idea which has taken flight in just the last 12 months in Turkish football. When Istanbul hosted the European Amputee Championships, very few knew that the tournament was even on. But by the final, more than 40,000 people watched Turkey take the title. Beyond the games, Paul Scott watched it all unfold, along with one of its stars, Barış Telli, one of the ambassadors for Turkey's bid.
Now the game, the final, was originally meant to be played at the Turkish Football Federation facilities, where I'm not entirely sure how much it holds, but I would imagine it's not much more than 40, let alone 40,000. And it was an inspired choice.
There was an amazing atmosphere at the stadium, and when I entered it now, I remember that night.
You have to take it in context to what had happened a few days earlier, because the Turkish senior team had been eliminated from the World Cup. They took on Iceland and they lost quite badly, and Turkish football was in a desperate need of a boost.
Serkan sokuldu kale çizgisine. Serkan ortaya bir vuruş gol!
Şimdi tekrardan o duyguyu yaşamış oldum. I can still feel it now. We ended the first half up 1-0 and we still had 25 minutes to play.
Well, we were watching it right down on the pitch side. We were extremely close to the action because the pitch was obviously a lot smaller for the amputee. And England actually equalised with seconds remaining, and it looked destined to go to extra time.
50. dakika, son dakika, kafa vuruşu olacak iş değil.
We were so upset when they scored a last-minute goal. I remember the moment when everybody in the stadium was silent. We were devastated. But we stood up again because we needed to score for the championship.
Barış ceza alanına baktı. Barış geriye. Osman! Osman! Osman! Osman! Osman çakmak gol! Gol! Gol! Gol! Barış maç bitti. Şampiyon! Şampiyon! Şampiyon Türkiye! Türkiye şampiyon!
Vodafone Park gerçekten inanılmaz doluydu. The stadium, it was full of people. They made us feel the atmosphere, the excitement. They made us feel everything. I was playing on the field, but for just a second, I wanted to see how excited the people were, so I lifted my head. It made me feel amazing at that moment. The crowd, they all believed in us. The people who came, our mothers, our aunts, sisters, brothers, everybody, they were there only for us.
The relationship between the supporters who were here and the amputee players was like something I've never really experienced, because You can't imagine that those players have ever played in front of a crowd even remotely close to what this was, and you'd probably imagine not many fans had ever watched amputee football before. Yet all of a sudden they came together, it was this perfect crescendo, the perfect time, and the perfect end to the story as well.
Şampiyon Türkiye! Şampiyon Türkiye!
When the 2024 European Championships arrive, the majority of this Turkey's national team will be hitting their peak as footballers. The squad is littered with young stars like Cengiz Ünder starring in the Champions League for Roma and Enes Ünal in Spain. So we took the chance to ask some of the stars of tomorrow what they think about Turkey potentially hosting the Euros in 6 years' time.
Why do you think Turkey should be hosting the Euros in 2024?
Bence çok iyi bir organizasyon sunabilir.
I think we can put together a really good tournament because we have a lot of new stadiums and fans will fill all of them, I'm sure. If we get the chance to host, I believe it will be a great tournament. It will be best for all of us and for our future.
He's right. There is a lot of things, to see something, but the foods are amazing in Turkey. But only not the foods, also the people is very warmful. So the people can be relaxed also here when the games are finished. So I think they have to see more of Turkey.
Let's talk a bit about the passion that the football fans in Turkey have.
We are really passionate about football, and it's big love in Turkey to football. It's the first point, but there is a lot of points. It's amazing country, amazing food, amazing people, and I really want everybody can come to Turkey and see this beautiful part.
I want to get to that food part actually, because Turkish food is something very, very special.
İtalya'da da yemekler.
In Italy, the food is really good. As you know, Italian cuisine is really rich and well known throughout the world, just like Turkish cuisine. For me, these two are the best cuisines in the world.
If I could ask you the top 3 things you'd recommend to anyone who's never been to Turkey, people visiting Turkey.
They see the Turkey because if you start from the people, the people are very, very warmful, very sympathetic, and they have a lot of things. The second one is for me the food. And the third things are, there's a lot of places to come here and to see the sea, to go to the beach and everything. Holiday is crazy. The weather is always good. So these 3 things is for me the top.
Istanbul is a star attraction for any visitor coming to Turkey, a city thousands of years old, still as vibrant as ever. So for those who aren't locals, it's nice to get a tour by someone who knows their way around. So we got Turkey's most capped footballer and a legend of the game to show Robin Adams his new hometown.
I'm fairly new to Istanbul. I've only been here for a few months, but really it is a place that is absolutely fascinating. The city is smack bang in the middle of 2 continents, Europe and Asia. I live on the European side. We're spending a bit of time in Asia today, where you can see history is practically all around. And we've roped in the services of a gentleman, a legend of Turkish football. He needs absolutely no introduction to any sort of Turkish audiences at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, your friend and mine. A slow clap, please, for the legend. This is Rüstü Recber, former goalkeeper of the Turkish football team. He's going to be showing us Asia. My brother, good to see you. Thank you. Show us your hood.
Yes.
Or as I like to call it, Rüstü's hood. Let's go. Turkish football fans might not have been lining the streets on this occasion, but Recber really does enjoy legend status in the country. A football pundit on TV most days, right now Recber's happy to play tour guide for me and my team, showing us Turkey's iconic sights.
Burada çok güzel kafe ve restoranlar var. There are so many good fish restaurants along the seafront of the Bosphorus. And I'm going to take you to one of my favourites. Let's eat.
We're on his turf now, his playground. This is a home game for the man who spent 15 years of his professional career with two of the country's biggest clubs, Fenerbahce and bitter rivals Besiktas.
Robin.
My brother.
Robin, this is
food first, then football.
This is levrek. Yes, nice.
Teşekkürler. Talk to us about your favourite playing days in Turkey and Barcelona.
Ben 13 yıl Fenerbahçe'de oynadım.
I played at Fener for 13 years, 5 years at Besiktas, and more than a year at Barcelona. I played the most at Fenerbahce. That's where I won the most and was most successful. I also won at Besiktas, and normally where you win the most is where you say you were the happiest. But honestly, I was happy at all three of the clubs, and I will never forget the impact they had on my life.
Başarılı olduğu, huzurlu olduğu yer onun en sevdiği yerdir.
Turkish football has been, for the last few years at least, on some sort of very significant rise. How much would it mean to the Turkish players, the young crop of players we got at the moment, and the fans, for Turkey to be hosting a European Championships in 2024?
Futbolla yatıp kalkan bir ülkeye sahibiz.
We are a football-loving nation. Our fans are crazy about football. They're so passionate. We've also invested heavily into football with new and modern stadiums, so of course we want to host it. Our president is also a football lover, and he's helping the game improve. He's also backing the bid, which gives it the financial strength. I feel we are ready to host it.
I want to just ask about, compare the experiences between playing for a team like Fenerbahce and Barcelona.
There is a big difference between Spanish and Turkish football cultures. We are more fanatical. They see it as fun. Whereas when we love a team, we fall in love with it all. When our team loses, it affects all other aspects of our life. When we go to work, we are sad. It impacts it all.
Your friends from different parts of Europe, different parts of the world, do you invite them to Turkey? And what is it that you tell them is the big draw card? Why must they come to Turkey?
Çok gelen oldu.
A lot have come here whenever possible. They want to see how beautiful Turkey's people and geography is. Most people have a different perception of Turkey. They think of it very differently. They think it's an Arab country. But when they see it, they're shocked. Turkey is a truly beautiful country. Patrick Kluivert came here for some matches, and when he was walking around, he saw things very differently. The same with Ronaldinho. When they see Turkey, it's just very different to what they expected.
And I feel like the best way to experience the Bosphorus Strait that effectively connects Asia and Europe is on a boat. All right, you take us there, Stu. Show us your area, show us your hood. Merhaba. Rüstü, former goalkeeper for Turkey, Barcelona, Fenerbahce, TV pundit by day, and on his days off, he's my tour guide. All right? Give us the tour.
Robin.
Chai.
Hi.
Teşekkürler, my brother.
Güçlü. Sorry, ne yapıyorsun?
Richmond's also donned the Turkey jersey at the European Championships. He's best remembered for his war-painted face and ponytail.
Our training camp was in Hong Kong, and my eyes were allergic to the chemical they were using on the grass. The doctors said I should use it to protect my eyes from the direct light, and it just got stuck. Like the NFL players in the States, they also do it.
And when he led the national team into battle at the 2002 World Cup, Turkey recorded their best ever finish at football's biggest showpiece.
It was an amazing time. When we entered Turkish airspace, Turkish fighter jets escorted us to the airport. It was an unforgettable moment. When we landed and got out of the airport, seeing all those people greeting us was such a great feeling.
When 2024 rolls around and Turkey does indeed stage the continental competition, Recp's promised to be in the stands cheering on the national team. What a legend. My brother, absolutely appreciate your time. And if Turkey gets the 2024 Euro Championships, I'm going to see you there. All right. Cheers, man. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
So with the bids submitted and all the paperwork in the hands of Uefa, Turkey pin their hopes on diversity, inclusivity and passion for football to try and bring the European Championships to Turkey for the very first time. Right, that's all we have time for on this special edition of Beyond the Game. I'm Samantha Johnson, and from myself and the team here in Istanbul, we hope to see you in Turkey for the 2024 European Championships.
Beyond the Game, brought to you by Turkish Airlines.